Okay, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Clutter, and I am the program coordinator for the School of Pharmacy. And I'm happy to have you all here today as entering first-time freshmen. We're really excited for you to get started on campus, and hope those of you that are here are doing well and are safe. And without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. I will let you know that Dr. Blummel, who is our one of our honors academic advisors, is on the line, and I'll let him introduce himself. Dr. Blummel, would you like to say any words?
Sure, I just echo that and welcome everybody, and certainly the pre-pharmacy honor students. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact either myself or Dr. Ashley McMillan. She couldn't be here today, but she's certainly willing to answer any questions you might have as well. So again, welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Blummel. Yes, Dr. McMillan is actually teaching our PharmD students who actually started classes yesterday. We're sorry that you can't be here, but we're glad that all of you can, and certainly Dr. Blummel. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. We hope for this not to last more than about a half an hour, but we do have it scheduled for up to an hour. I will let you know, don't worry about kind of jotting down notes or anything like that. It is being recorded, and I will share the recording with all of you and those that could not be with us today, so that you all have the same information, okay? Feel free to pose any questions in the chat feature and we'll get to them, of course, at any time, okay? So essentially, I know that Lexi Bramer, who is our college recruitment specialist, many of you have worked with her. She is on the line. I will tell you though, she's unable to speak at this moment. She is also covering a virtual recruiting session simultaneously. So she's kind of wearing two hats today, but I did want to call your attention to her. Feel free to reach out to any of us in the School of Pharmacy. You can reach out to Lexi, myself, or also Dr. Euler, our Associate Dean for Student Services. So here's what we're going to do today, basically. We've really already covered the welcome, and we've introduced sort of the admissions and student affairs staff. We want to talk about finding your fit. Yes, there is a play on the PH in pharmacy there. Sorry for my nerdiness to affect you this afternoon. We're also going to talk about APHA-ASP, that's the American Pharmacists Association Academy of Student Pharmacists. It's a student organization and has a buddy program that you might all be interested in. We're going to talk a little bit about academics and expectations. We're also going to talk a little bit about a syllabus, kind of some things you need to pay attention to with those, as well as other campus and support services. And we'll also talk about Career Services Center and just a little bit about the campus read. I believe Dr. Euler just joined us. Dr. Euler, is your audio working?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Sorry.
That's quite all right, Dr. Euler. Would you like to make any remarks to our students that are in attendance?
Just welcome and thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Euler. And as I indicated before, any of us in the School of Pharmacy, whether or not you're in the Direct Admit Pathway program or not, we are more than happy to help you in any way to help you make this a successful journey towards reaching, your dreams and goals of becoming a pharmacist. And don't worry if for some reason that changes for any of you. We don't take that personally. Ultimately, we want to see you succeed at WVU, and so we're willing to help you in any way that we can to have that happen. So the reason we're talking about finding your fit really at WVU is that there are multiple studies that show that students who are engaged on campus have higher GPAs, they also have higher on-time graduation rates, and they also indicate that they have much more satisfaction with their college experience as compared to their peers who aren't as engaged on campus. It really helps you to meet other like-minded students, other students who share similar interests, or students who are in your same major, or even in other majors that may be complementary to yours. I will tell you that there are over 400 plus student organizations on campus. And so you should be easily able to find a student organization or two that would be of interest. They range from anything from professional organizations to interest type organizations to we even have those of you who are Harry Potter fans, we have a Quidditch team club. And yes, they do play Quidditch. I've watched them play it on the Health Sciences Center intramural fields from time to time. So there are lots of different organizations. Some are also based on race, ethnicity, religious interests, different things of that nature. I will also tell you that 11 student organizations at the university are pharmacy specific. One in particular that you're going to be able to join, and you will be able to join shortly. So that student organization is the American Pharmacists Association Academy of Student Pharmacists. For short, it's APHA-ASP. Sometimes we just go by ASP. Basically, this is part of the largest organization of pharmacists in the nation. And the association has three branches, one for pharmacy practice and management, one for pharmacy research and science, and then also one for student pharmacists. And so there are upwards of, I think, 15 to 20,000 student pharmacists that are members of the organization. You get many different benefits from joining this organization. When you join it, you become a member of the West Virginia Pharmacists Association as a student. You also become a member of our chapter here at WVU. And you also become a member of ASP at the national organization level. So your membership fee does cover all of that. It also gives you the opportunity to participate in multiple community service opportunities, as we are able to do those this year, again, given social distancing and the COVID conditions. It also gives you access to numerous publications as well as discounts on rental cars, discounts on car insurance, as well as discounts on a number of publications, meaning books and review materials and things of that nature that are published by APHA. There will be an informational meeting that will take place sometime later, probably if not this month, then early next. And we will send an invitation out to all pre-pharmacy students to allow you to be able to join that organization and learn much more about it from the student leaders of that organization. So we look forward to seeing you at that meeting and encourage you to get involved in the association. So let's talk a little bit about academics. We basically are a 2+4 program. That means you have a minimum of 2 years of pre-pharmacy requirements. You go through an application process, that's sort of the plus part, and then you begin the PharmD program, which would be an additional 4. It will prepare you to graduate for entry into many, many different areas of pharmacy practice. There is clinical pharmacy in a number of different variety of specialties. There's also community pharmacy. There's also pharmacy in the armed services, in the public health service, in the Native American Health Service, in the Bureau of Prisons, association management to working for big pharma and anywhere in between. So there's really a wide range and variety of different career paths that you can take with this degree. We also have an opportunity for you to get a joint degree through our joint degree program, which is the PharmD MBA, and you would simultaneously graduate from WVU with both of those degrees. You would begin that MBA program in approximately the second year of your PharmD program when you are in the professional curriculum. We also have 5 areas of emphasis, so you can also have that as an additional credential that you earn when you're in the PharmD program. We have one that focuses on geriatrics and gerontology, so working with older individuals. We also have one that focuses on research, so those of you that are interested in research of some kind, you can certainly get involved in undergraduate research at this time through the undergraduate research office at the university, and you can search for that on the WVU website. But then when you're in pharmacy school, you can also get involved in our research area of emphasis as well. We also have an advanced clinical pharmacy or clinical residency track area of emphasis. We also have a teaching area of emphasis. So those of you that may want to go and, like Dr. Blumel or Dr. Euler, be faculty at schools of pharmacy. Oh, pass, okay. You could get the teaching area of emphasis. We also have a global health area of emphasis. So those of you that are interested in pharmacy on more of a global scale, or certainly international health, you have that opportunity as well in terms of an area of emphasis. So the pre-pharmacy curriculum is such that you have about 61 minimum credit hours of required courses. So those are basic science courses with labs. That includes math, English, composition, economics, statistics, calculus, public speaking, and then of course you also have GEF requirements, that's the General Education Foundation Program. And in this case, there are 8 different foundational areas. The pre-pharmacy requirements are such that you'll meet all of the other 8 areas with the exception of area 5, 6, and 7. And so you would need to select courses that would meet those 3 areas. And we did work with you during orientation this summer to make sure that we had you in the appropriate coursework to put you well on your plan of study. The PCAT, I know that for this year's admissions process, it is an optional thing. However, next year when you would be applying, we don't yet know about whether that'll be optional. So if it is not optional, the earliest that you would take it would be next July after you've completed kind of general chemistry and general biology. And then of course, the latest time that you would take it would be in the spring of the year in which you're applying. But we can talk more about that. We do admissions forums usually once or twice a year, and we invite all pre-pharmacy students to attend that. So we won't spend any more time on this, but I just wanted to introduce it to you and have it sort of in your mindset so you are aware that this may be something that you're going to be doing you know, next year this time. So there are 2 or 3 year plans of study. There's DAP versus non-DAP. DAP stands for the direct admit pathway. That's for students who place in Chem 115 and Math 150 or higher. And then it really doesn't matter. I do want to make this point. It doesn't matter whether you spend 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, get an undergraduate degree. It doesn't matter, you know, what brings you to the School of Pharmacy. We just want to obviously see you get here. The only time that the length of study really becomes an issue for you is if our admissions committee sees that you have withdrawn multiple times from courses or you have perpetually, you know, had difficulty in courses. That usually is then indicative of an issue that may have students struggle in the professional curriculum. But otherwise, if you're making progress successfully throughout that time frame, that is certainly okay with us. So it doesn't matter. I know though that the bulk of you usually try to get that done in the minimum time frame necessary, which would be 2 years. And depending upon what math and science you're starting out to, that may or may not mean summer school for you in between either freshman and sophomore year or between sophomore and starting pharmacy school. So just be aware of that. But many of us discussed that with you when we met with you during new student orientation. But again, just wanted to remind you of that as you are considering your plans moving forward. So the admissions process, essentially you're going to apply through a centralized pharmacy college application service. It's called PharmCAS. And you want to apply as early as you can, but for all of you, that means that you would not start applying until at the earliest in mid-July of next year. Okay, so if you're wanting to be admitted to the class entering in the fall of 2022, you will actually begin the application in mid-July of 2021. You do want to apply as early as you can. We do have a rolling admissions process, so we admit as we interview and go through our applications. And so you do want to do that as early as possible when you're going through that process. Again, we'll talk more about these details in an admissions forum later on that you can attend. There is an application fee. Of course, there's the Pharmacy College admissions test. But one thing I do want to kind of call your attention to, at least at this point, is letters of recommendation. There are 3 letters of recommendation that are required. At least one letter from a faculty member who has instructed you. We prefer that that be from sciences in terms of biology, chemistry, or math. However, you know, that really it doesn't have to be science, although that is preferred by our committee. We do need to have at least one letter from a faculty member that has instructed you at the collegiate level. You need to have 2 additional letters of recommendation. Those could come from an academic advisor, a pharmacist, a supervisor, another healthcare professional, or another um, faculty member. In terms of how you're considered for admission, it is a holistic review. So it is going to look really at everything that you've put in your application. That includes extracurricular activities, those clubs and organizations that you belong to. It will look at community service, work experience, your personal statement, your letters of recommendation. It's really going to look at everything that you put in your application. It's not just by the numbers. We will look at your overall GPA, and that's going to include every attempt at all coursework, collegiate coursework that you've completed at any institution. There will also be a prerequisite GPA based on the pre-pharmacy curriculum, and that GPA will be calculated using the most recent attempt at those specific named course requirements. It does not include any additional preparatory courses or other open electives, so just be aware of that when you are applying. We will also look at the Pharmacy College admissions test scores. That is the composite percentile score and the writing subtest score, but our committee will see all subscores as well. And then there's also a personal interview that's required of everybody. So it is important that you are prepared for a personal interview, are able to talk about yourself and the things that you put in your application, and answer questions in that interview. So we encourage you to be prepared for that when it comes time to do so. So you're going to be interviewed by 2 individuals, faculty members or professional staff members here in the School of Pharmacy. We do have an established question bank that's utilized by our interviewers, and it basically has about 8 different categories of types of questions that are asked, from things about your interest in pharmacy and why you want to do that, to things about ethical moral reasoning, your community service and community service orientation, among a number of other different topical areas. It is going to evaluate your overall communication skills, and it will last between about 30 and 45 minutes, the actual interview portion. Your total experience, though, with the interview will probably be about 2 hours. We're hoping by the time it comes time for you to be applying and interviewing, that we're actually going to be able to reinstitute having you on campus and in person for those interviews. But I will tell you, for the foreseeable future, those interviews are going to be virtual in nature because of the need to protect everyone's health and safety. You will also find the decision regarding your admission within about 2 weeks of the time of your interview. Usually it's about a week, but certainly within 10 business days of the time of your interview. So now let's talk about some academic resources. These are things that are going to help you towards your success. The portal, you should be living by the portal. That's where you're going to be accessing STAR, eCampus, all the other different systems that are available to help you. And I misnamed this on my slide presentation. SSC Campus is actually called Navigate. Those of you that are my advisees, and I know many of you that I advised during new student orientation, we utilize Navigate for you to schedule those appointments with us. I know Dr. Blummel and Dr. McMillan also did that. And so that is a way that you can, you know, schedule your advising appointment to us whenever we set up campaigns and invite you to do so. There's also DegreeWorks. Think of this as sort of an electronic checklist. DegreeWorks allows you to see what are the requirements for your degree and where your progress is with that. It also has a what if feature. So if you're not sure if pharmacy is what you want to do, you can also explore some other majors and see how the coursework that you've taken and have in progress applies towards those degree areas. And then of course, there's no substitute for the undergraduate catalog. It has policies, procedures, and different things of that nature, but it also has course descriptions as well. And so you have that. And then of course, the invaluable schedule of courses so you know what course options you have, who's teaching them, where they're being taught, the times, and other detailed information regarding the particular courses that you want to take each semester. So you also have that as a resource as well. And all of these things are accessible right directly through the portal when you log on to the WVU's portal. There are also academic resource centers, and I definitely want to call your attention to these. There is one in the Evansdale Library. There's one in the Evansdale Residential Complex, which is in the Brook Tower. There are also subject area learning centers for math, chemistry, writing, and perhaps others. These are places where you can basically get free tutoring, okay? We want to encourage you to take advantage of these resources because that's exactly what they're there for. They're there to help you succeed academically. And there are peer tutors that have had the courses that you've taken. They've done very, very well in those courses to be able to be a tutor. And so they're used to doing that. Now, I will tell you that the delivery of these services this year is going to look different, okay? These services typically are going to be virtual. So you do want to be sure that that you are doing that you know, safely to get the help that you need. But again, those services are still available and would encourage you to consider utilizing them. I also want to talk about Rob Baraselli. Mr. Baraselli is one of the specialists at the Career Services Center. The Career Services Center is located right in the Mountain Lair. If you're standing at the front of the Mountain Lair and looking at it, the left-hand wing on the second floor basically is the Career Services Center. And you can walk kind of up the ramp and go over there and you know, get services from them. Rob's works specifically with health profession students. So he has helped a number of pharmacy and pre-pharmacy students with resume and CV writing, along with cover letter writing and different things of that nature. But more importantly, he's also helped a number of students prepare for interviews, for job interviews, for pharmacy school, and so forth. So that is a resource that you do have available to you. The Career Services Center is also a place that you can also look for campus and off-campus, on-campus and off-campus employment. So I would encourage you to consider utilizing those resources again to help you with your employment and career searching needs. Here's some other helpful resources. We have the pharmacy website. You've also got the WVU website. There's also pharmacyforme.org, and Lexi, our college recruitment specialist, very likely introduced you to that. But if you have not visited that website, it is a good website for you to learn a little bit more about different options for pharmacy careers. And then, of course, you can learn more about the pharmacy application process through PharmCast. You can learn more about the PCAT at the PCAT website. And then there's also the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy. You can visit that website also to learn a little bit more about pharmacy as well. So I've gone through a lot of information, but now I'd like to kind of open it up for questions and would welcome you to unmute yourself and ask a question, or to you know, type something in the chat. It's really your decision. While you're thinking about those questions, I do want to encourage you all to be very safe while you are on campus this semester. Make sure that you're wearing your mask, that you're staying physically distant, you know, washing your hands, having good hand hygiene, and so forth. That is going to be very, very important. It is something that the university is taking very seriously. Also today in Mountaineer e-News, we are all, whether or not we are having any whether we're working on campus or whether we even have classes on campus, we are all going to be required as students, faculty, and staff to fill out a daily survey regarding symptoms of COVID. This is, again, to maintain data regarding contact tracing. So if anybody is symptomatic, contact tracing can occur. and we can learn more about, who we need to um, um, uh, find, who we need to notify to keep safe, quarantine, self-isolate, and those kinds of things. The university does take that very seriously, so do make sure that you are following the protocols and wearing your masks where needed and so forth. For more information regarding all that stuff, you can go to the COVID website on the WVU website. You can also visit the Return to Campus website if you haven't done so already regarding those types of issues if you have not yet returned to campus. Even if you have, there's a lot of good information there. Okay, do direct admission students have to fill out an application for fall of 2022? Yes, we do collect data on all of the admitted students and we want to treat everybody the same way. However, those of you that are in the direct admit pathway program are going to be well prepared for that application process. We're going to go over the application, tips on filling it out. You will, in the direct admit pathway program in the Pharmacy 191 course, we're going to do mock interviews. We're also going to have you, one of the assignments that you do is writing your personal statement. And so we will grade that and provide comments to you. So you do need to have that. So that would be something, that we're going to prepare you well for. I will tell you that any student who has ultimately begun in the direct admit pathway program and has wished to continue into the PharmD program has been successful in the admissions process. So we're holding that space for you. You do have to go through the formality of the admissions process though, because we do need to interview everybody as a part of our admissions process. That is an accreditation requirement. But Taryn, that's a great question, but we will certainly help you. So there's a question regarding what computer you would recommend. Really, we don't care. I will tell you that when you begin pharmacy school, we do have a laptop program. And so in the, this will be equivalent of your junior year when you are in your first year of the professional program. You will be issued very likely a Mac computer that you will use throughout your time in pharmacy school. It will be covered by a one-time fee in your first semester of pharmacy school, but it is yours to use while you're in the program and well after you depart us. But in terms of stuff for pre-pharmacy, it's really a matter of choice. We don't recommend one computer over any other. The biggest thing is that we want you to have something that's going to allow you to use Office products, so you can use Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Excel, and those types of programs that Microsoft gives you, and you can get that for free as a university student. But it's really, really a matter of choice. I know some people are very, very, very PC oriented. Others are very Mac oriented or Apple product oriented. So it's really, up to you. I would probably recommend it be a laptop so that if you want to take it to class, you have the ability to take it to class, take notes and different things of that nature. But there's absolutely nothing for old school taking notes to with pen and pencil. So it's really kind of your call. What other questions do you all have? Carrie, you're quite welcome. My pleasure. Sarah, what other topics are going to be covered in Pharmacy 191? We're actually going to do some specific career exploration programs. We're also going to be covering issues of diversity and equity. We're going to meet the basic objectives that are required of all first-year seminars, but it's going to be very pharmacy-centric, pharmacy and health-centric. So those are going to be the things we're going to cover. We'll talk, let me just speak a moment more about kind of syllabi. Each of you will receive a syllabus for every course that you're in. And in those syllabi, there are going to be specific course requirements, sort of what is required of you to get certain grades, what the grading criteria are going to be, if the faculty member has office hours, how to get in touch with them. you know, what topics are going to be covered, what the learning objectives are for the course, other university policy and things like that that we put in syllabi. All of those kinds of things are going to be on the syllabi that you get. So it's really important in your first days of classes that you take a look at those syllabi and schedules that you get, and that you know exactly what's going to be required of you for each course. Those also typically have deadlines for when certain things are due, when you're going to have exams, you know, different types of policies and things like that. So it's going to be important for you all to take a look at your syllabi and keep those in a very, you know, accessible place, so that you can access them at any time should you have any particular questions about that particular course or policies and things like that. So you're able to see them. That was a great question. What other questions? Is there a book that you need to buy for Pharmacy 191? Actually, the only book that you might consider buying would be the Campus Read. But in terms of any other books, we actually will provide you with access to electronic versions of those books through an online library that you'll have access to through our class. And we'll explain that more in the first class that we have next week. What other questions? Okay, I'm not really seeing any additional questions. Dr. Euler, do you have any parting words for our participants?
I don't specifically. Jen, you did a great job. Again, I just want to thank everyone for being on the call today. And I think the most important thing is to remember that we are here for you. And we want to make sure you're getting the right answers to your questions. So please don't hesitate to contact anyone in our office to make sure that you feel comfortable with how you're progressing through your curriculum. And we look forward to meeting all of you this fall. So again, as Jen said, be safe, and we'll see you hopefully in person more often than we think right now. So, but again, we are in our office. Our office is open every day, and you can always stop in, but we prefer that you send an email first so we can decide whether or not we need to meet in person or whether we can meet by Zoom. So take advantage of that. All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Please have a wonderful afternoon. And if you haven't made it to campus, we wish you safe travels on your way here. And again, look forward to everybody. So thank you all for your time today. Really appreciate you joining in. And again, we'll follow up with the recording of this to everyone who did participate. So thank you all so much, and have a great semester. Let's go Ears.